Welcome back. I usually don't analyze very deeply my bullet games, but this one had some interesting points in it, so I'm going to look through and see what I should have done better and why. And I have a pretty neat checkmate at the end that I remember from the game. I'm going to see if that was the best way to do things. This is the position on the board after my opponent's 12th move, and Stockfish says I should just take this knight right here, let them take me back, and then castle. I've learned most of the time not to exchange my bishops for knights, but that's what it says my best move is here in this position, and I would have a very slight advantage. I'm not sure what exactly they would do at that point. It says after I castled, they would put this knight in here, but I'm not sure where that would be going. I guess it would be going after my bishop. But what I did here was a blunder, and you saw the eval bar just drop down to give my opponent a huge advantage. I thought I was attacking the queen, and that's what it would look like to the novice. Of course, Stockfish points out they can just take that bishop. It's free. I just gave them a free bishop because the bishop's not protected because that pawn is pinned. My e-pawn can't move out of the way of the king as long as that rook is back there. I didn't see that. And of course, it's bullet, so my opponent doesn't have a lot of time to think about it. Also, my opponent is rated very similarly to me in bullet, so they didn't see that either. They moved their queen out of the way, which puts us at about normal. I did make my best move here, which was to get that bishop out because I need to castle. Interestingly, it's not in my best interest to take that knight now. Maybe that's because the queen is now protecting it. Because a second ago, it was in my best interest to take the knight, let the pawn take, and then castle. But now, it's not. So I made the best decision here to just get that out, preparing to castle. My opponent's supposed to put their knight in here, and then it says I would put my knight over there, and then there would be captures. Oh, the Stockfish has changed its mind. It now wants to put this knight over here. But for some reason, my opponent put their knight in there. Now, I wasn't sure exactly what they were going for. They couldn't be going here because I had a queen protecting that pawn. Surely they weren't going after my e-pawn, even though they had 3 pieces pointed at it, because I also had a pawn pointed at it. I had a bishop pointed at it. I don't think they would get much out of that. I think they would lose 2 knights for 2 pawns or something, or 2 knights for a pawn and a bishop. That's where they moved. And my best move here, Stockfish says, is just to go take that pawn, not to do anything else. But the whole reason I had put this bishop here was to castle. I wasn't going after that pawn. Maybe I should have been, but I castled, which took away some of my advantage. My opponent moved the h-pawn, and one of my best moves is still to go down there with that bishop in check. One of my 3 best moves, along with a5 and rook f to e8. Well, what I saw here is what I often see when I have a bishop close to there, is that they're about to push this other pawn, which wouldn't be a great idea with their king castled behind those pawns, but I was starting to run out of places to put that bishop, so I didn't want to get it trapped, so I went ahead and moved it back. Now they're supposed to put this knight back here. I have no idea why they did this, but they did take that pawn, so that tells me that that is what they had been aiming at the whole time. And now that my bishop is not guarding that pawn anymore, I guess they thought they would get away with this. So I took back, and then when they took there, I thought, oh no, I've made a mistake because I don't have anything else guarding that spot. They've just forked these 2 pieces. My queen and my rook, they're going to get a queen. I mean, they're going to get a rook for a knight here in just a second. So I thought I was way behind here. As you can see from the evaluation bar, Stockfish says I'm way ahead. So I'm seeing this for the first time and wondering why I'm way ahead. It says, if I'll just put my queen here on b6, let them take that rook, and then I would take back after they took here with their knight, and I would be fine. But I'm not seeing that now, and I certainly didn't see it in the game. I do see that the rook is protected 2 different ways, so I don't need to protect it with my queen. I just need to get my queen out of danger. But I decided it looked like they were coming in here, so I brought my queen over there. That turns out to not be good at all. It's counted as a mistake, but I still have an advantage. They did take my rook, and I did take back with my rook. So everything worked out according to Stockfish, but again, I'm not seeing Stockfish during the game, so I don't know that I have a minus 1.8 advantage. I just see that I'm down a rook and 2 pawns for a bishop and a knight. I thought I was behind here. I thought I was kind of hovering and making a little fence around my king, and I was in danger. Also, by moving my queen over there, I left this pawn undefended, which now I see in hindsight. That's why I should have put my queen on b6. It would have protected both of those pawns, but instead I brought it over there, leaving both of those pawns and that bishop undefended. So my opponent took there. Well, that leaves my bishop undefended. What am I supposed to do about that? Oh, I'm supposed to protect it here? Fortunately, that is what I did. Okay, not only blocks the rook from coming down here, but it protects the bishop backward, and it is in turn protected by that pawn. So that worked out well. And my queen is protecting the pawn's protecting the knight's protecting the bishop's protecting the rook. So they're all kind of protecting each other. All of those pieces turn out to be protected, except for this pawn, which I just left over there. I still have a very slight advantage, but apparently when my opponent did that, it gave me a mate in 3. If you see it now, that's maybe because you're really good at chess. It might be because I just said it gave me a mate in 3. I didn't see it during the game. I had a minute left. I should have seen that I can just take this pawn because my rook is back here. That would have been check. It would have forced the king into the corner, which meant it would stop protecting that rook. So I would take the rook. Their only legal move at that point would be to block with their queen, because they can't move their king up to h2 because my bishop is guarding that square. So yeah, I should have checked here. They would have had to move. I would have checked here. They would have had to interpose with their queen. I would have taken it, and that would have been mate. Forced checkmate in 3. But I didn't see it. And again, I thought I was behind here. They had just taken 2 more pawns. So now I'm down a rook and 4 pawns for a knight and a bishop. I was pretty sure I was losing. What should they have done instead? It says they should have played f3. Well, that makes sense. That would have attacked my knight, plus it would have kept my queen from getting to f2. That's their best move, and I still would have had a slight advantage according to Stockfish. But again, this gave me mate in 3. I didn't see it. I did see that if they did come after my knight, that my bishop would be undefended. So I moved my queen over there to defend my bishop. Also, I saw that that pawn was undefended. So this was a dual purpose move. It defends the bishop in case this knight is forced out, and it attacks that pawn. So I thought that was pretty good, but apparently that takes us back to drawn. The opponent can just move this bishop out now. They can play f4. I don't know why f3 is not a good move now. Maybe is it because I've protected my bishop from here and then my knight can just get away if they play f3? Or if they play f3, maybe now I can put my knight in here. But anyway, yeah, they should get this bishop out. But instead they played f3, which is what they should have done on the previous turn. Well, now that I've protected this bishop, I can just move the knight. Stockfish, in its infinite wisdom, says I should check over here. Interestingly enough, that is what I did. I can't show you the engine right now, but Stockfish now says I have a forced mate in 19. Well, I didn't know that. I just knew that if I checked, I could get the knight out. I also knew that if the king moved into the corner, I could check here. If the king moved into the corner. That's kind of what I was thinking right here when I checked with the bishop. If the king moved into the corner, that would be checkmate because the king would have no legal moves left. And I thought, well, if the king came over here, then I could check there. I had all kinds of ideas. It turns out that those are really good ideas, and my opponent made the best move. They didn't go for the checkmate in the corner. They brought their king out. It is my best move to check there with the knight, and now the bishop protects the knight, and the king can't get to the bishop. All it can do is come forward. It can't go there because, of course, the knight guards that square. So there's only one legal move, and my opponent found it. But now, remember when I moved my queen over here to aim at that pawn? Well, now it's my best move to take that pawn. And I took the pawn. So the king, remember, can't go here because of the bishop, can't go there because of the knight, can't go here because of the queen. They can block with the queen, which is kind of what I thought they would do. Or they can come out. Or they could block with the bishop. But if they blocked with the bishop, I would just take it. If they block with the queen, well, I would just take it with my knight, which works out pretty well for me. And I still have a forced mating sequence. They can also block with the rook. Now, if they blocked with the rook, I'm supposed to go down there and check. But they came out there. And I looked and I looked. The rook and the queen are guarding that spot, so I can't go there to check again. I looked and I looked. I couldn't go here because the pawn's guarding that spot. What am I supposed to do? I thought, well, where do I have any checks? I did have a check, so I brought my knight back. That turned out to be checkmate. I didn't see it at all. It was a checkmate by accident. Pretty happy with that. But again, I thought I was behind. I thought I was behind here. And I thought I was checking out of desperation. I thought that was a desperation check, except if they went over there, I knew that would be mate, so I figured they would come out, which they did. I did not know I had a forced mate in 18, or if they messed up, I would have mate in less than that. I just knew I could check there and it would force their king out, and it did, and I knew I could check there. But again, I'm down material, and I'm conscious of that during the game. I thought I was about to lose here, and I thought I just have to keep checking. I'll check again, and then maybe I can take that pawn, and that's what I was thinking, and I checked there, and the game was over. So Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. It's all about the remaining squares that are left to the king. And had this been a longer game, I might have seen some of these possibilities and I might have gone for them intentionally. But as it was, I thought I was losing and I was checking out of desperation. And even if that had been the case, sometimes when you check out of desperation, your opponent moves out of check the wrong way or blocks in the wrong way, giving you a mating sequence. In this case, it turned out I had a mating sequence anyway. I sure wish I had seen that forced mate in 3 earlier. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.